General Susan Clark stood in the war room deep beneath the military command center. Holographic displays surrounded her, showing information about ships, weapons, and battles. 6 weeks had passed since the Cravaxians attacked humanity's colonies. In that time, Earth had transformed into something most people never imagined possible. "Give me the numbers." "Colonel," Susan said to Colonel Andrew Martinez, her logistics officer. "Yes, ma'am," Andrew replied, pulling up data on his tablet. "We have converted 42 civilian shipyards to military production. We are now building 8 destroyers every week. We are also making hundreds of fighters and support ships. The factories on Luna are running 3 shifts around the clock. The asteroid mining operations have increased their output by 300%. Susan nodded. It was impressive, but she needed to know the cost. "What about casualties?" Andrew's face became serious. 4,000 military personnel confirmed dead. Another 1,200 are missing, presumed dead. But we have a surprising development on the recruitment side. Volunteers are up by 5,000%. We actually have more people wanting to join than we have equipment for them. That was both good and bad news. Good because it meant humanity was united. Bad because it meant 4,000 families were mourning their dead, and many more would join them before this was over. "What about the technology teams? Are they making progress with the captured Cravaxian equipment?" Susan asked. Andrew smiled for the first time. "You are going to love this, General. Dr. Ellen Foster and her team have successfully figured out how the Cravaxian shields work. It will take time to build the parts we need, but within 3 months our capital ships will have shields just like theirs." 3 months, Susan repeated thoughtfully. "Can we hold out that long? Our intelligence says the Cravaxians are gathering a fleet of over 1,000 ships. They plan to attack Earth directly, bypassing our outer defenses. Admiral Jack Morrison is pulling back our fleets to defend the Sol system." Susan studied the tactical display showing ship positions throughout human space. The Cravaxians were done with small attacks. They were bringing everything they had, determined to end this war by destroying Earth itself. "Double all production quotas," Susan ordered. "I do not care if people have to sleep in the factories. Get me Dr. Ellen Foster. I want to know if there is any way to speed up the shield development." "Yes, ma'am," Andrew said, sending messages on his tablet. Throughout the solar system, humanity's war machine was running at full power. Mars orbital stations had been turned into giant weapons platforms. The asteroid belt was being mined for every useful mineral. Even civilian transport ships were being fitted with armor plates and weapons. Admiral Jack Morrison was coordinating the defense of Sol system from the battleship Liberty. 500 human warships were gathering, representing every nation on Earth and every colony. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled. "Admiral, our scout ships are reporting in," said Captain Linda Gray from the tactical station. "The Cravaxian fleet is 3 days away. We have confirmed their numbers at 1,217 ships." Jack studied the holographic display carefully. The Cravaxians outnumbered him more than 2 to 1. Their ships were still better in most ways. But he had advantages. He was defending his home. He had 6 weeks of combat experience fighting them, and his people were fighting for their survival, which made them more dangerous than any weapon. "Send this message to all fleet commanders," Jack said firmly. "We are not defending territory anymore. We are defending our species. There will be no retreat, no surrender, no mercy. We hit them with everything we have, and we do not stop until they are running or dead. Make sure every captain understands this is the line. We hold here or humanity falls." The response from the fleet came quickly from every ship. "Understood, Admiral. We will hold." 3 days later, the Cravaxian fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system. They came in massive force, their ships arranged in a formation designed to crush any defense. At the center was the Imperial Dreadnought Dominator, the personal flagship of Grand Admiral Kreshtal. The Cravaxian leadership had decided to personally oversee humanity's destruction. "All ships advance," Kreshtal commanded from his bridge. "We will crush these primitives. We will burn their worlds. The galaxy will remember this day as the moment the Cravaxian Empire proved its superiority." The human fleet waited near Jupiter. As the Cravaxians entered weapons range, Jack gave a simple order. "All ships open fire. Show them what happens when you threaten our home." Space erupted in violence. Human railguns launched metal rods at incredible speeds. Nuclear missiles streaked toward Cravaxian shields. Laser weapons, primitive but numerous, began heating enemy armor. The battle had begun. Then the Cravaxians discovered what humans had prepared during those 3 days of warning. The entire approach route had been seeded with nuclear mines. Not sophisticated weapons, just large amounts of radioactive material rigged to explode when enemy ships passed near. As the Cravaxian fleet advanced, the mines started exploding. They did not destroy the shielded vessels, but they created massive electromagnetic pulses. These pulses disrupted Cravaxian sensors and communications. Suddenly, the carefully organized formation began falling apart. "All ships engage at close range," Jack ordered. "Do not give them time to recover." The human fleet dove into the confused Cravaxian formation like wolves attacking scattered prey. At close range, the Cravaxian advantages meant less. The humans targeted engines and weapons, crippling ships and leaving them helpless in space. Captain Greg Hayes found his destroyer Valiant fighting a Cravaxian heavy cruiser. His ship was smaller and weaker, but he had learned from previous battles. He had speed and the ability to move quickly. "Put all power to engines," Greg ordered. "Get us underneath them." The Valiant flew beneath the cruiser so close that the two ships almost touched. The Cravaxians' big guns could not point down far enough to shoot them. Greg's crew fired every weapon they had, hitting the cruiser's underside with railgun rounds and missiles. The shields held at first, but Greg knew shields needed power. And power came from reactors. Target their reactor area. Fire all missiles at maximum power. 6 nuclear missiles hit the shields directly over the reactor. The first 3 were stopped. The 4th made the shields flicker. The 5th made them fail completely. The 6th penetrated the armor and exploded inside the engineering section. The Cravaxian cruiser broke in half, destroyed from within. "All ships, listen," Greg transmitted. "Sustained nuclear attacks on one point can collapse their shields. Focus your fire on single targets." Across the battle space, human ships changed their tactics based on this new information. The Cravaxians suddenly faced an enemy that shared information instantly and adapted faster than they could respond. Grand Admiral Crescitol watched from the Dominator as his fleet suffered impossible losses. These primitives should have broken. They should have run. Instead, they were winning. "All ships, defensive formation," he ordered. "We need to regroup," but humans would not allow them to reorganize. They pressed their attack with fury. Ships with destroyed engines kept firing. Pilots whose fighters were shot down actually used their spacesuits to manually attack enemy vessels, attaching explosives before detonating them. Captain Bill Taylor found his cruiser dead in space, no power and no working weapons. But he still had one thing: a nuclear reactor that could be overloaded. "Crew, abandon ship," Bill ordered calmly. "Set the reactor to overload. Aim us at that dreadnought." His crew escaped in pods while Bill stayed behind. He used small maneuvering thrusters to point his dead ship at the Dominator. The Cravaxians tried shooting him, but his ship looked too damaged to be a threat. Bill's ship hit the Dominator's shields and exploded. The shields held, but they drained completely from the massive blast, and 50 human ships had been waiting for that exact moment. All 50 ships fired at once at the unshielded dreadnought. Crescitol barely understood what was happening before his flagship was torn apart by the largest coordinated attack humans had ever executed. Without their flagship and their commander, the Cravaxian fleet broke. After 5 hours of brutal fighting, the survivors fled Sol system in disorder, leaving behind 432 destroyed ships. The human fleet had lost 196 ships. It was the bloodiest day in human history. It was also the greatest victory. Jack sat in his command chair, exhausted. They had won, but the cost was terrible. Thousands of good people had died defending their home. Their names would be remembered forever. "Admiral, we have a transmission from Earth," Lieutenant Kate Phillips reported. "It is General Clark." Susan's face appeared on screen. She looked as tired as Jack felt. "Admiral, congratulations on the victory. But we cannot stop now. The Cravaxians will rebuild and return. We need to use this time wisely." "What do you need, General?" Jack asked. "I need you to help me convince civilian leadership to authorize planned retribution. It is time we took this war to them. We are not going to sit and wait for them to attack again. We are going to make them regret they ever heard of humanity." Jack smiled grimly. "I will do everything I can, General. These aliens started this war. We are going to finish it." High Chancellor Morden called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. It was unusual to meet again so soon after a regular session, but the situation demanded it. The holographic displays around the Grand Chamber showed battle footage from the human-Cravaxian War. Council members watched in silence, their faces showing various degrees of shock. "Honored members," Morton began, his ancient voice heavy with concern, "we are here because something unprecedented is happening. The war between the Cravaxians and humans is not going as anyone expected." Ambassador Velnara of the Crystalline Collective spoke up. Her crystalline body chimed softly as she moved. "High Chancellor, with respect, this appears to be a normal colonial conflict. Yes, the humans performed better than expected in the first battle, but the Cravaxians still have more ships and better technology. This will end soon enough." "That is what worries me," Mordan replied. "Please watch this footage carefully." The hologram showed the first battle again, but this time, there were detailed analysis markers highlighting specific moments. The council watched as a human fighter pulled a turn that registered 17 times the force of normal gravity. "Pause there," Mordan commanded. The image froze. The pilot of this craft survived that turn. He went on to destroy 2 more Cravaxian ships before he was finally shot down. "Our scientists say that amount of force should have killed him instantly." Councillor Vreen leaned forward, her wise eyes studying the image. "Are they using technology to reduce the force?" "No," Mordan said. "They have no such technology. They are simply enduring it. They wear special suits and use drugs to keep their blood flowing. They push their bodies far beyond what we believed possible for any species. This is not technology. This is pure determination." The footage continued. The council watched as a damaged human destroyer rammed into a Cravaxian battleship. The human captain's final words played over the video. "We are going down, but we are taking them with us. Tell my wife I love her. Make them pay." The destroyer's reactor exploded, destroying both ships. The council chamber was silent. "That captain's name was Bill Rogers," Mordan said quietly. "He had a wife and 2 children. He chose to die rather than let his crew die for nothing. In human military culture, this is not considered unusual. They call it sacrifice. They honor it." Ambassador Zekthor of the Cravaxian Empire stood up angrily. His mandibles clicked with agitation. "These are desperate acts by a desperate species, High Chancellor. Once the Empire commits its full military strength, the humans will break. They must break. No species can sustain losses like this." "The footage I am showing you is only from the first 4 hours," Mordan interrupted. "Should I show you what happened over the next 3 days?" Without waiting for an answer, he changed the display. Multiple battles played out across different holographic screens. In each one, the humans were adapting. They were learning from their mistakes. They were becoming more dangerous. The council watched as humans mined asteroid fields and lured Cravaxian ships into traps. They saw human ships using nuclear weapons in creative and devastating ways. Most shocking of all, they saw humans capture a damaged Cravaxian frigate and within 12 hours begin copying its technology. "Impossible," Velnara whispered. "It takes our species decades to safely integrate new technology." "Humanity went from primitive flying machines to landing on their moon in 66 years, Mordan said. "They have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. When they need something, they find a way to create it. And right now they need better weapons, so they are inventing them." The most recent footage began playing. A human fleet, smaller than the Cravaxian force but moving with deadly purpose, ambushed a supply convoy. The humans had somehow hidden their ships from Cravaxian sensors until it was too late. "This footage is from yesterday," Mordan explained. "The humans are now conducting raids deep in Cravaxian space. They are destroying military bases, factories, and supply lines. They learned this tactic from the Cravaxians themselves, but they execute it with a creativity that exceeds their teachers." A new transmission began playing. It showed Admiral Jack Morrison, the human fleet commander. His face was hard and determined. "To the Cravaxian Empire, you came to our homes. You killed our families. You destroyed our colonies. Now we are coming to yours. Every base you built, every colony you founded, every ship you launched is now a target. You will not find peace. You will not find mercy. You will only find humans, and you will learn why you should have left us alone." The transmission ended. The council chamber erupted in worried conversations. "The humans are not seeking to conquer territory," Mordan continued over the noise. "They are seeking to make sure the Cravaxians can never threaten them again. They are systematically destroying the Cravaxian Empire's ability to make war, and they are doing it with an efficiency that frightens me." Velnara spoke carefully. "High Chancellor, perhaps the Council should intervene. We should negotiate peace before this spreads further. Both sides have been contacted, Mordin said. The Kravaxians are willing to talk, though they refuse to admit they are losing. But the humans have made their position very clear. Another transmission played. This one showed a human general named Susan Clark. She spoke from a command center deep on Earth. To the Galactic Council, we appreciate your concern. However, humanity will not negotiate while the Kravaxians can still threaten us. We want the complete removal of all Kravaxian military forces within 5 light-years of human territory. We want payment for the colonies they destroyed, and we want the military commanders who ordered attacks on our civilians to face justice. These demands are not negotiable. If the Council cannot enforce them, we will enforce them ourselves. Zekthor's mandibles clicked furiously. This is outrageous. The Empire will never accept such demands from primitives. Then the Empire will fall, Mordin said simply. The chamber went quiet. I have analyzed human industrial capacity. I have studied their rate of technological advancement. I have reviewed their military performance. If this war continues for 1 more year, the Kravaxian Empire will lose half its military. In 2 years, the Empire will collapse completely. He paused, letting his words sink in. The humans are not playing by the normal rules of war. They are not trying to capture territory or gain resources. They are fighting what they call a total war. Every factory, every worker, every resource they have is now focused on one goal: making sure the Kravaxians can never hurt them again. And they are very, very good at it. Councillor Vreen looked troubled. High Chancellor, you have studied human history. What can you tell us about their capacity for war? Mordin's old eyes looked tired. Humans have been fighting wars for their entire existence. They fought each other for thousands of years before they even reached space. They have refined warfare into an art form. They understand strategy, tactics, logistics, and psychology in ways that most peaceful species do not. He brought up images of human history. Battles from their past appeared on the displays. They have a saying, never fight a land war in Asia. Another says, never invade Russia in winter. These are lessons they learned through blood and death. They wrote these lessons down so they would never forget. Now they are teaching the galaxy a new lesson. Never threaten a human's home. Why is that so important? Asked another council member. Because humans are territorial in a way most species are not, Mordan explained. They form deep emotional attachments to places and people. When you threaten their home, you are not just threatening territory. You are threatening everything they love, and humans will do anything, sacrifice anything to protect what they love. He showed more footage. This time it was from a human city that had been attacked by the Kravaxians. The city was in ruins, but humans were already clearing rubble and rebuilding. Children were helping adults move debris. Old people were cooking food for workers. Everyone was working together. Look at them, Mordin said. Their city was destroyed. Thousands died, but they are not giving up. They are not fleeing. They are rebuilding and preparing to fight back. This is what humans do. They endure. They adapt. They overcome. Zekthor stood again. This is all very dramatic, High Chancellor. But it does not change facts. The Kravaxian Empire still has superior numbers and superior technology. We will crush them eventually. Mordin turned to look directly at the Kravaxian ambassador. Will you? Let me show you one more thing. The display changed to show human shipyards. They were working at incredible speed, building new warships faster than anyone thought possible. The humans have converted civilian factories to military production. They are now building 8 destroyers per week. Their recruitment centers are overwhelmed with volunteers. They have more people wanting to fight than they have ships to put them on. So they can build ships quickly, Zekthor said dismissively. Building ships and winning battles are different things. You are right, Mordan agreed. Which is why I should mention that in every battle since the first one, the humans have improved. They learn from every mistake. They adapt to every Kravaxian tactic, and they are winning more often than they are losing. He pulled up statistics. The numbers were clear. The Kravaxians had lost 74 ships in the past month. The humans had lost 32. Admiral Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of the battleship Liberty. He was looking at the view screen, watching as enemy ships appeared out of nowhere. 200 Kravaxian warships had just arrived in human space. Each one was 3 times bigger than his biggest ship. They looked powerful and deadly, covered in armor and weapons. Sir, we are getting a message from them, said Lieutenant Kate Phillips. She was sitting at the communication station, her young face tense with worry. "Put it on screen," Jack ordered. The view screen changed to show a Kravaxian commander. The alien had 3 eyes that looked at Jack with clear amusement. His mandibles moved as he spoke, and the translation came through clearly. "Human Commander, I am Commander Zarketh of the Kravaxian Empire. You will surrender your fleet immediately. Your people will accept our rule. If you resist, we will destroy you. You have 1 hour to decide." Jack looked at the alien for a long moment. Then he smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Commander Zarketh, I am afraid I must decline your offer. You see, we have a problem with bullies. We always have. So here is my offer to you. Turn around and leave. Go home, forget you ever heard of humanity. Do that and we will forget this ever happened." Zarketh's mandibles clicked together in what was clearly laughter. Brave words from a species that barely knows how to fly between stars. "Very well, human. We will teach you what happens when primitives challenge their betters." The transmission ended. Jack turned to his crew. Every man and woman on the bridge looked scared but determined. They knew what was coming. "All ships, battle stations," Jack ordered. "Launch all fighters. Get me Admiral Lisa Grant on the Columbia. It is time to show these aliens what humans can do." Zarketh watched the human fleet on his tactical display. They were scrambling to prepare for battle. Their small fighter craft were launching from the bigger ships. The fighters looked like toys compared to his mighty warships. This would be over quickly. "All ships, advance and fire at will," he commanded. The space between the 2 fleets lit up with weapons fire. Kravaxian plasma cannons shot beams of superheated energy at the human ships. Missiles streaked across the void. The first shots hit 2 human destroyers and both ships exploded in balls of fire. Zarketh felt satisfied. This was going exactly as planned. Then the humans fired back. The Kravaxian shields held easily against the human weapons. The energy shields were designed to stop plasma and lasers, and they did their job perfectly. Zarketh relaxed. The humans could not hurt them. But then something strange happened. The human fighters were not trying to shoot through the shields. Instead, they were flying very close to the Kravaxian ships. Dangerously close. They were attaching something to the hulls and then flying away at incredible speeds. "What are those craft doing?" Zarketh demanded. His sensor officer looked confused. "Commander, they are attaching explosive devices to our ships, but our shields should stop them from getting that close." Then the first explosion happened. A Kravaxian cruiser suddenly had a hole blown in its side. Then another explosion, and another. All across the Kravaxian fleet, the devices were going off. "How are they getting through our shields?" Zarketh shouted. "They are not using energy weapons, sir. They are flying physical objects through the shields and attaching them directly to our hulls. Our shields are designed to stop energy attacks, not solid objects moving this fast." Zarketh watched in growing horror as 6 of his cruisers began venting air into space. The human explosives had blown holes in their hulls. Adjust shields to block solid objects too. And destroy those fighters. But the human pilots were flying like they were insane. They pulled turns that should have killed them. When his ships tried to shoot them down, the fighters just moved faster and flew more wildly. Zarketh had never seen pilots willing to take such risks. Behind the fighters, the human capital ships were moving forward. Their weapons were primitive, yes, but they were firing so many shots that his point defense systems could not stop them all. Railguns shot metal rods at incredible speeds. Nuclear missiles exploded against shields. Even old-fashioned bullets were being fired from huge cannons. "Sir, the humans are not fighting to disable our ships," his tactical officer reported with fear in his voice. "They are trying to kill us. Every shot is aimed at our engines or our crew areas." Zarketh stared at the tactical map. In 15 minutes, he had lost 23 ships. The humans had lost 8. This was not supposed to happen. The humans were supposed to break and run. They were supposed to be scared. Instead, they were fighting with a fury that shocked him. "All ships fall back," he ordered. "We need to regroup and plan better." But the humans did not give him space to retreat safely. They pressed their attack, chasing the Kravaxian ships as they tried to withdraw. Human vessels with damaged engines kept shooting. Pilots whose fighters were destroyed actually used their spacesuits to fly toward Kravaxian ships and set off more explosives manually. One human captain, a man named Bill Rogers, found his cruiser dead in space. It had no power and no working weapons. But he still had one thing left, a nuclear reactor that could explode. "All crew, get to the escape pods," Bill ordered calmly. "I am going to aim this ship at that big one." His crew escaped while Bill stayed behind. He used the ship's small maneuvering thrusters to point his dead cruiser at a Kravaxian battleship. The aliens tried to shoot him down, but his ship was already too damaged to register as a serious threat on their systems. Bill's ship hit the Kravaxian shields and exploded. The shields held, but the explosion drained all their power, and 50 human ships had been waiting for exactly that moment. They all fired at once at the now defenseless battleship. It broke apart under the massive attack. Zarketh could not believe what he was seeing. These humans were sacrificing themselves just to take down one enemy ship. What kind of species did that? Captain Greg Hayes was in command of the destroyer Valiant. He found himself in close combat with a Kravaxian heavy cruiser. His ship was smaller and weaker, but he had advantages. He was faster and could turn more quickly. "All power to engines," Greg ordered. "Get us under them where they cannot shoot us." The Valiant dove beneath the cruiser, flying so close that the two ships almost touched. At this range, the Kravaxians' big guns could not point down far enough to hit them. Greg smiled. "Fire everything we have at their belly." His crew opened fire with every weapon. Railguns hammered the shields. Missiles slammed into the same spots over and over. The shields held at first, but shields needed power. And power came from reactors. "Target their reactor area," Greg ordered. All missiles, maximum power. 6 nuclear missiles hit the shields right above the reactor. The first 3 were stopped. The 4th made the shields flicker. The 5th made them fail. The 6th went through the armor and exploded inside the engineering section. The Kravaxian cruiser broke in half, its back broken by the internal explosion. "All ships, listen up," Greg transmitted. "We found out how to beat their shields. Keep hitting the same spot with nukes. The shields will eventually fail. Concentrate your fire." Across the battlefield, human ships changed their tactics. The Kravaxians suddenly faced an enemy that learned from every fight and adapted faster than they thought possible. Zarketh had lost control of the battle. His fleet was taking terrible losses. These primitives were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to surrender. Instead, they were winning. After 5 hours of brutal fighting, Zarketh ordered a full retreat. His fleet fled human space, leaving behind over 100 destroyed or crippled ships. On the Liberty, Admiral Jack Morrison watched the enemy flee. His fleet had won, but the cost was heavy. Many good people had died. Ships that took years to build were destroyed in minutes, but they had protected their homes. "Get me casualty reports," Jack ordered quietly, "and start rescue operations. I want every survivor found." Lieutenant Kate Phillips looked up from her station. Her eyes were red from crying, but her voice was steady. "Sir, we are getting a message from Earth. They want to know if we held." Jack nodded slowly. "Tell them yes. We held the line. The enemy has retreated, but tell them also to prepare. This is not over. They will be back, and next time they will bring everything they have." "What will we do then, sir?" Kate asked. Jack looked at the stars where the Kravaxian fleet had disappeared. "We will do what humans always do, Lieutenant. We will adapt. We will learn. We will build better ships and better weapons. And when they come back, we will be ready." They wanted to teach us a lesson. Instead, we taught them one. Do not start a fight with humans unless you are ready to finish it, because we will not quit until we win, or until there is nothing left of us to fight. Around the bridge, the crew nodded in agreement. They were tired, scared, and hurt. But they were also determined. The Kravaxians had made a terrible mistake. They had given humanity a common enemy. They had given humans a reason to unite, and they had shown humans that the galaxy was a dangerous place. That was a lesson humanity would not forget. The Galactic Council met for the 4th emergency session in 2 months. The atmosphere was different now. The usual politeness and diplomatic courtesy had been replaced by obvious fear. Everyone knew something fundamental had changed in the galaxy. High Chancellor Mordan stood before the assembled representatives. His ancient face showed deep weariness. "Honored members, you have all reviewed the reports from what humans call the Battle of Sol. The Kravaxian invasion fleet was decisively defeated. Of the 1,200 ships that entered human space, fewer than 800 returned. The humans also suffered heavy losses, but they held their system." Ambassador Zekthor stood up quickly. His posture was defensive, no longer showing the arrogance from months ago. The battle was a strategic withdrawal. The Empire still has superior forces. "We will rebuild and—" "You will do nothing," Morden interrupted, his voice sharp. "Because if you send another fleet to human space, they will destroy it. And then they will come for your homeworlds. The council chamber erupted in shocked conversations. Councillor Vreen spoke over the noise. High Chancellor, surely you exaggerate. Humans are new to space warfare. Watch this, Morden said simply. The holographic display showed footage from Kravaxian border space. A human fleet was conducting raids on Kravaxian colonies. They were not trying to capture planets. They were destroying military bases, factories, and resource collection sites. This footage is 6 days old, Morden explained. Admiral Jack Morrison's fleet has conducted 17 such raids. They attack without warning, destroy their targets, and disappear before reinforcements arrive. They are using Kravaxian tactics but with greater creativity and aggression. The display changed to show a human transmission. Admiral Jack Morrison appeared on screen, his expression hard and determined. To the Kravaxian Empire, you brought war to our homes. You killed our families. You destroyed our colonies. You threatened our world. Now we bring war to you. Every base you built, every colony you founded, every ship you made is now a target. You will not find peace. You will not find mercy. You will only find humans, and you will learn why you should never have attacked us. The transmission ended. No one in the council chamber spoke. The humans are not seeking to conquer territory, Morden continued. They are making sure the Kravaxians can never threaten them again. They are destroying the Kravaxian Empire's ability to make war, and they are doing it with efficiency that terrifies me. Velnara of the Crystalline Collective spoke carefully. Perhaps the council should intervene. We should negotiate peace before this spreads. Both sides have been contacted, Morden replied. The Kravaxians want to negotiate, though they refuse to admit they lost. The humans, however, have made their position very clear. Another transmission played. General Susan Clark spoke from Earth's command center. To the Galactic Council, we appreciate your concern. However, humanity will not negotiate while the Kravaxians can still threaten us. We demand complete removal of all Kravaxian military forces within 5 light years of human territory. We demand payment for destroyed colonies. We demand the military commanders who attacked our civilians face justice. These demands are final. If the Council cannot enforce them, we will do it ourselves. Sekthor's mandibles clicked angrily. These demands are impossible. The Empire will never accept them. Then the Empire will fall, Morden said flatly. I have analyzed human capabilities. If this war continues 1 more year, the Kravaxian Empire will lose half its military. In 2 years, the Empire will collapse. Humans are not playing by normal rules. They are fighting what they call total war, and they excel at it. He paused, letting his words settle. I have studied human history. They have many sayings about war. Now they are teaching the galaxy a new one. Never threaten a human's home, because they will not stop until you cannot threaten anyone again. Vreen addressed the chamber. What do you propose, High Chancellor? Morden took a breath. I propose the Council officially recognizes human territorial claims. I propose we mediate peace negotiations on terms acceptable to humans. And I propose we offer humanity full Council membership, not as newcomers to guide, but as equals to respect. The chamber erupted in debate. Some supported the proposal. Others rejected it, unable to accept that such a young species deserved respect. While the Council argued, the war continued. Human fleets pushed deeper into Kravaxian space. The Kravaxian military fought defensive battles it was never designed for. The humans learned from every fight, adapted to every tactic, and grew stronger with each passing day. Captain Linda Gray commanded the destroyer Phoenix on one of these raids. Her target was a Kravaxian shipyard that built cruisers. The facility had strong defenses, shields, missiles, and 30 warships guarding it. Analysis complete, Captain, her tactical officer reported. The main reactor powers everything. If we destroy it, the entire facility stops working. Linda studied the display. The reactor was deep inside, protected by multiple shield layers and thick armor. A direct attack would fail, but humans had learned creativity. Launch all fighters, draw the guard fleet away from the shipyard, then prepare for stealth approach. We are flying right into their docking bay. Her crew looked uncertain. Captain, that puts us inside their shields. If they detect us, then we fight, Linda interrupted. But we are not letting them build more ships to attack our people. Prepare for insertion. The Phoenix used stealth technology to creep toward the shipyard while fighters distracted the guards. By the time the Kravaxians realized what was happening, the Phoenix was already inside the docking bay. All crew, place nuclear charges and evacuate, Linda ordered. We have 60 seconds before detonation. The crew worked quickly, placing explosives throughout the bay. When the last charge was set, Linda gave the order. Everyone to escape pods. Go, go, go. The crew escaped as Kravaxian defenders tried to respond. The nuclear charges exploded 30 seconds later, destroying the reactor and causing a chain reaction that tore apart the entire shipyard. Linda watched from her escape pod as the facility burned. They had lost their ship, but completed the mission. A rescue vessel would arrive soon, and they would be back fighting within days. This was the new reality. Humans fought with determination that seemed extreme to other species. They took risks no one else would consider. And they won. General Susan Clark received the Phoenix mission report with satisfaction. 37 Kravaxian military installations destroyed in 1 week. The Empire was losing resources and morale. General transmission from High Chancellor Mordan, her communications officer said. Susan nodded. Put him through. Mordan's ancient face appeared. General Clark, the Galactic Council has voted to recognize human territorial claims and mediate peace negotiations. The Council also invites humanity to join as a full member. Susan studied him carefully. What are the peace terms? The Kravaxian Empire has agreed to your demands. They will remove military forces from border regions, pay reparations, and hand over the commanders responsible for attacking civilians. In exchange, humanity stops offensive operations. I need to consult with our government, Susan replied. But personally, I think humanity is ready to stop fighting. We never wanted this war, Chancellor. We just wanted to be left alone. Mordan nodded slowly. I understand, General. I hope that once peace comes, humanity will use its abilities for building, rather than destroying. The galaxy needs defenders, not conquerors. Humanity could be the greatest defenders we have ever seen. We will see, Chancellor. But I promise this. No one will attack humanity without paying a price they cannot afford. We learned that lesson from this war. The galaxy is dangerous, and we will always be ready. 3 months later, the Treaty of New Horizon was signed on a neutral station. The Kravaxian Empire accepted all human terms. The humiliation would echo through their culture for generations. Humanity gained peace, respect, and a permanent council seat. Admiral Jack Morrison attended the ceremony. He watched as Ambassador Karen Mitchell placed humanity's seal on the treaty. He thought about everyone who died to reach this moment. Captain Bill Rogers, who rammed his ship into an enemy. Captain Bill Taylor, who sacrificed himself at the Dominator. Captain Linda Gray's crew, who risked everything. Thousands of others whose names would be remembered forever. We remember them, Jack said quietly. And we make sure the galaxy remembers what happens when you threaten humanity. Counselor Vreen approached him. Admiral Morrison, congratulations on your victory. You fought brilliantly. We fought desperately, Jack corrected. There is a difference, perhaps. But the result is the same. The galaxy now knows humanity is powerful. Some fear you. Others respect you. What will humanity do now? Jack thought carefully. We will do what we always do. Defend our homes, protect our people, build a better future. But we will never forget that peace must be defended. The Kravaxians wanted to make us victims. Instead, they made us warriors. The galaxy must live with that. Looking at the stars through the station viewport, Jack knew humanity had changed forever. They entered space as explorers and dreamers. They were tested by fire and emerged as something new. Survivors, warriors, and a force even ancient civilizations had to respect. The Kravaxians asked if humans had lost their minds when they fought back. The answer was simple, no. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was massive. It floated in space between stars, a symbol of peace that had lasted for thousands of years. Inside, representatives from hundreds of alien species gathered for their monthly meeting. Today's session seemed normal at first, but everything was about to change. Ambassador Zekthor walked to the center platform. He was from the Kravaxian Empire, one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. His species looked like giant insects with 3 eyes and sharp mandibles. He moved with confidence, certain that everyone would agree with what he was about to say. Honored members of the council, Zekthor began. His voice was loud and proud. I stand before you today with important news. The Kravaxian Empire has made a decision about the humans. The word humans made several council members shift in their seats. Humans were new to space travel. They had only discovered faster-than-light travel 20 years ago. Most species saw them as children playing with dangerous toys. These humans refused to accept our protection, Zekthor continued. We offered them a chance to join our empire peacefully. We would have guided them, protected them, and taught them the ways of civilized species. But they said no. Such disrespect cannot be ignored. Counselor Vreen, a tall alien with blue skin and wise eyes, raised her hand. She had been part of the council for 300 years. She had seen many young species rise and fall. Something about this situation worried her deeply. Ambassador Zekthor, she said carefully, perhaps we should discuss this more. The humans are new, yes, but they have shown they can adapt quickly. Are you certain attacking them is wise? Zekthor's mandibles clicked together. It was how his species laughed. Wise. Counselor Vreen, these creatures barely understand plasma technology. Their ships are slow and weak. Their weapons are primitive. They still use chemical explosives and metal bullets. We will defeat them in weeks, maybe days. He pressed a button, and a holographic star map appeared. It showed human space, a small cluster of 30 systems. Next to it, the Kravaxian Empire controlled thousands of systems. Look at them, Zekthor said with contempt. They are nothing, a minor inconvenience. We will take their resource-rich worlds, and the galaxy will be safer for it. These humans are dangerous because they do not know their place. They need to be taught a lesson. At the highest seat, High Chancellor Mordan leaned forward. He was ancient, even by the standards of long-lived species. His people, the Eternal Watchers, had been guiding the galaxy for 10,000 years. His old eyes looked tired and worried. Zekthor, Mordan said slowly, I must advise you against this path. We have been watching humanity for some time now. There are things about them that concern us greatly. Concerns? Zekthor said dismissively. What could possibly concern the great Eternal Watchers about such primitives? Mordan was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. They do not quit. We have studied their entire history. Every war they fought among themselves, every disaster they faced, every impossible challenge they encountered, they never surrendered, never gave up, never stopped trying. That is just stubbornness, Zekthor replied. Stubbornness will not save them from superior firepower. It is more than stubbornness, Mordan insisted. It is something deeper, something primal. These humans evolved on a death world, Zekthor. Their planet tried to kill them in every way possible. Diseases, predators, weather, earthquakes, volcanoes. And yet they not only survived, they conquered their entire world. They made themselves the apex predators of a planet that was designed to destroy them. Several council members looked uncomfortable. Death worlds were rare. Most intelligent species evolved on calm, stable planets. The few species that came from dangerous worlds were known to be fierce and unpredictable. They are also creative in ways we do not fully understand, Mordan continued. When faced with problems, they invent solutions we would never consider. Sometimes these solutions are brilliant, sometimes they are terrifying, but they always find a way. Zekthor waved a dismissive claw. You speak of theoretical concerns, High Chancellor. I speak of practical reality. The Kravaxian military is the finest in the galaxy. Our shields can stop any weapon these humans possess. Our plasma cannons can vaporize their ships from distances they cannot even detect us. This will not be a war. It will be an execution. And what happens when they survive your execution? Mordan asked quietly. What happens when they adapt to your tactics? What happens when they learn from every battle? What happens when you give them a reason to unite, to focus all their creativity and determination on a single goal? Destroying you? Zekthor laughed again. Then we destroy them faster. High Chancellor, with respect, I believe your concern for these primitives is clouding your judgment. The decision has been made. The Kravaxian fleet will depart for human space in 3 days. We will give them one chance to surrender. If they refuse, we will demonstrate the price of defying the Kravaxian Empire. Mordan sat back in his chair. He looked very old and very sad. Then I hope you have prepared well, Ambassador, because I fear you are about to teach the galaxy a lesson none of us wanted to learn. What lesson could that possibly be? Zekthor asked. That humanity should have been left alone, Mordan replied. Once this begins, it will not end the way you expect. The humans have a saying, do not start a fight unless you are prepared to finish it. I fear you are starting something you cannot finish. Councillor Vreen spoke up again. High Chancellor, should the Council intervene? Can we stop this before it begins? Morden shook his head slowly. No. The Kravaxians have made their choice, and perhaps the galaxy needs to see what happens next. Perhaps we have become too comfortable, too certain of our superiority. The humans will teach us humility, one way or another. The humans will teach us nothing except how primitives scream when they die, Zekthor declared. His hologram flickered as he prepared to leave the council chamber. When we return victorious, I expect this council to recognize our claim to human space. Good day, honored members. The hologram vanished. The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Finally, Councillor Vreen turned to Mordan. Do you really believe the humans can win? No, Mordan said honestly. The Kravaxians are too powerful, too advanced. The humans will likely lose, but I do not think they will lose quickly. And I do not think they will lose quietly. They will make the Kravaxians pay for every system, every planet, every ship. And in the end, even if the Kravaxians win, they will wish they had never heard of humanity. Should we prepare relief funds? Another councillor asked. For the human refugees? Prepare the funds, Mordan agreed, but not for human refugees. Prepare them for Kravaxian refugees, because something tells me that by the time this is over, the Kravaxians will need them more. Several council members looked shocked. The idea that the mighty Kravaxian Empire could be threatened by humans seemed impossible. But Mordan's tone was serious. I have lived for 6,000 years, Mordan said quietly. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched species destroy themselves and others ascend to greatness. And in all that time, I have learned one universal truth. Never underestimate a species fighting for survival. The Kravaxians are fighting for pride and expansion. The humans will be fighting for their very existence. That difference matters more than any technology or weapon. He stood up slowly, his ancient body tired. This session is adjourned. We will meet again in 1 month. By then we will know if my fears are justified or if I am simply an old fool worried about nothing. As the council members left, Mordan remained behind, staring at the star map showing human space. Those 30 small systems looked so insignificant compared to the vast Kravaxian Empire, but Mordan could not shake the feeling that something momentous was about to happen. Good luck, humans, he whispered to the empty chamber. You are going to need it, and so is everyone else. In 3 days, the Kravaxian fleet would depart. In 1 week they would reach human space and nothing would ever be the same again.